This is ECE digital signal processing homework for problem 1.8.22. The diagrams on the following pages show the frequency response magnitudes and pole zero diagrams of 8 causal discrete time LTI systems, but the diagrams are out of order. Match each diagram by filling out the following table. Do this problem without using MATLAB. In general, for the zero pole diagram like this, A over B is frequency response. The magnitude of A over the magnitude of B is magnitude frequency response. And the angle of A minus angle of B is angle frequency response. Let's firstly look at zero pole diagram 2, 3, 5, and 6. Note that the resonant peak happens only when the system has complex poles. So the corresponding frequency response of diagram 2, 3, 5, and 6 must be response 1, response 2, response 5, and response 4. We can see that for the diagram 6, it has 1, 0 on the unit circle. So when omega equals 0, the magnitude of frequency response must be 0. So the corresponding frequency response of diagram 6 can only be 2. For the diagram 2, 3, and 5, we can have that the general form of the systems is h of z equals z over 2, z to the power of 2 over z minus c e to the minus j theta times z minus c e to the j theta. Here, take diagram 5 as example. When it at peak, it's around pi over half. So the magnitude frequency at peak is A times B over C times D. Let's compare diagram 2 and diagram 5. After looking at these two diagrams, we can get the magnitude at peak of diagram 5 is less than that of diagram 2. So compare the response 1 and response 5. The response 5 here has higher magnitude peak frequency response. So the corresponding frequency response of diagram 2 is 5, and the corresponding frequency response of diagram 5 is 1. The resonant peak happens at a lower frequency for the diagram 3. that can only be frequency response 4. Now let's look at the other 4 diagrams which have only one pole and one zero. For the diagram 1, when omega equals 0, the magnitude of frequency response is 0. So this can only be 7. And for the diagram 4, when omega equals pi, or minus pi, the magnitude of frequency response is 0. So it can only be response 6. Now let's compare 7 and 8. The only difference between 7 and 8 is the distance between pole and the origin. So let's check the peak magnitude. Both of them, the peak magnitude is when omega equals 0 for both of them. And there we can get the peak magnitude of 7 is less than the peak magnitude of diagram 8. So the only two left frequency response is 3 and 8. And the 3 has lower peak magnitude. So 3 is for the diagram 7 and 8 is for diagram 8. Thus we have the answer. Corresponding response for the 0 pole diagram 1 to 8 is 7, 5, 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, and 8. That's the reasoning of the problem 1.8.22.